What's it like hearing people say all these really nice things?
It's very validating. A lot of hard work has gone into this film, but so much love, truly, speaking for myself and also for the filmmakers behind it, just so much love for the storytelling and for bringing something that means so much to so many people and bringing it to the modern age is really so special.
They say all you have to do to make your wish come true is let it echo, 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 echo.
I sat through the whole thing. This was really bad. It was extremely leftist on every political dimension: racial politics, sexual politics, class politics, regime politics. Its narrative was cowardly. It was just awful.
The new Disney boss babe, who is Rachel Zegler, the inverse of...
It's got extra musical numbers that are incredibly unnecessary that really add to that runtime. And let me go ahead and let you know that they're absolutely f***ing atrocious.
It was supposed to be her moment. A dream come true. Rachel Zegler, once a teenage sensation discovered on TikTok, suddenly found herself at the center of Hollywood's biggest stage, handpicked by none other than Steven Spielberg himself for West Side Story. But what followed wasn't a fairy tale. It was more like a slow-motion train wreck. Let's rewind. Back in 2021, Rachel Zegler was the name on everyone's lips. Plucked from obscurity after posting clips of herself singing in her bedroom, she landed the lead role in one of the most anticipated movie musicals in decades. Spielberg, known for his impeccable eye for talent, called her the real deal. Disney poured $100 million into the film, banking on her fresh face and undeniable vocal talent to breathe new life into a classic. Critics praised her voice, her energy, her rawness. Everyone thought she was on the fast track to superstardom. She was young, hungry, and seemingly grateful for the opportunity of a lifetime. The media couldn't get enough of her underdog story, a girl next door who went from covering Broadway hits to becoming Maria in one of Hollywood's most iconic remakes. But behind the scenes, sources close to production say things weren't as magical as they looked. Allegedly, Rachel started clashing with Spielberg almost immediately. Not just minor disagreements, but heated arguments that left crew members whispering. She reportedly questioned his creative vision, mocked veteran crew members, and even rolled her eyes when given direction. For a director who had worked with legends like Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, and Daniel Day-Lewis, this kind of disrespect was unheard of. Spielberg, known for running tight, respectful sets, allegedly found himself stunned by how quickly Rachel's attitude shifted from grateful newcomer to entitled diva. Insiders claim it wasn't just a one-time outburst, it was a pattern. Constant questioning, side eyes during key moments, even outright laughter at some of Spielberg's suggestions. To those who had spent years building their careers around professionalism and mutual respect, Rachel's behavior felt jarring. Some crew members began calling her the princess behind her back, not out of admiration, but mockery. And while Spielberg reportedly tried mentoring her, giving her the benefit of the doubt because he truly believed in her potential, sources say she allegedly dismissed his notes as old school and pushed back against nearly every suggestion. As tension simmered on set, the cracks began to show, not just in the production dynamics, but in the growing whispers about whether Rachel Zegler was truly ready for the spotlight she had been handed. Critics loved the film, but audiences? They were confused. Nostalgia fans missed the original choreography and tone. Others found the new version overly political, stripped of its soul. At the box office, it underperformed. Despite glowing reviews, West Side Story made less than half of what Disney had hoped. And that's when the whispers began. But it wasn't just about the numbers. The film became a lightning rod for debates about Hollywood's obsession with reinvention. Some argued Spielberg had tried too hard to modernize a classic, alienating the very audience that cherished it. Rachel Zegler, as the face of this bold experiment, became an easy target. Critics praised her voice, but casual viewers weren't convinced. Her performance, while technically strong, lacked the emotional depth many expected from Maria. Fans took to social media, questioning whether she was truly ready for such an iconic role or if the hype had been misplaced. Behind closed doors, Spielberg allegedly started warning colleagues about her. quiet messages during industry events, casual mentions over dinner with trusted producers. Nothing public, but enough to send a signal. His inner circle took note. Production crews remembered the tension on set. Words spread like wildfire. Working with Zegler could be a liability. For someone who had once been hailed as the next big thing, this was a seismic shift. Spielberg, known for nurturing talent and building careers, was now rumored to be distancing himself from her. In Hollywood, where relationships are currency, this was a red flag no one could ignore. Disney announced she'd play Snow White in their live-action remake. Fans groaned. Critics raised eyebrows. But the studio pushed forward, investing an astonishing $270 million into the project, the largest budget ever for a female-led film at the time. It was a gamble, and everyone knew it. Big mistake. From the start, Rachel didn't exactly win people over. In interviews, she dismissed the original story as outdated, called Prince Charming toxic, said Snow White needed to be modernized. Fans felt betrayed. Social media exploded with backlash. Memes mocked her comments. Late-night hosts roasted her nightly. Even before the movie hit theaters, the damage was done. Then came the movie itself, and it flopped hard. Only grossing $194 million worldwide, it became a laughingstock. Audiences hated the changes to beloved characters. Gone were the whimsical dwarfs. In their place, generic, magical beings that lacked charm or personality. The script was panned as clunky and uninspired, with lines that made no sense. Fans compared it to a parody rather than a heartfelt adaptation. TikTokers ruthlessly edited her Snow White comments next to clips of the disastrous box office numbers. YouTube channels dissected every frame, mocking her performance and pointing out plot holes. The final nail? She was no longer just a struggling actress. She was a symbol of everything gone wrong in woke-era Hollywood. The phrase "go woke, go broke" trended again, with Snow White becoming Exhibit A in the argument against forced modernization of classic stories. For Rachel, it was more than a professional failure. It was a cultural reckoning.
Controversy in Snow White. The dwarves have been eliminated in the live action.
Yeah.
Now it's Snow White and the 7 magical beings.
Wait, it's 7 and the magical beings?
Yeah,
They won't even say
magical
and the 7
beings.
dwarves?
No, because they're not dwarves. For right now, that's the only jobs that are there.
It's awful, generic. Never mind that the lyrics make no sense at all. All you have to do to make your dream come true is let it echo. Is it like on a metaphor?
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of like, I don't know, vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic?
I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
They spent $170 million to make the thing, and it had the lowest opening, under $50 million, of any of these live action Disney remakes that they've ever had.
For remaking the movie, they just got rid of the dwarves, but they have one token dwarf amongst these magical creatures. You actually just went backwards. You actually just erased the dwarfism side of it. The disability, like we're a disability group, you just erased that whole.
Broke out with this news, and I'm very, very, very excited and looking forward.
Doing catastrophically. They spent $300 million, and it currently has a 2.2 out of 10 rating on IMDb.
The movie has a major identity crisis.
Lines that they say, like magic mirror on the wall. It was a lot of fun.
And you know the saying, go woke, get broke, and Disney's going to lose money on this movie, and I believe it only made less than $1 million.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird.
Disney deleted Someday My Prince Will Come and made a modernized feminist alternative.
So apparently, according to them and according to the writers of Snow White, women can't even want to be in love anymore.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Nobody wants a movie about true love? What kind of woman do we want out there seeking true love, Eliana? It's the outrage.
Last week was a very big week, objectively a huge week. We had quite a few announcements. It's the first live-action film, which is Snow White and the Evil Queen. And that's me. I'm Snow White, which is so funny.
Rachel Zegler, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantata is the only global solution. This is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
Projects she was attached to quietly vanished. Auditions got canceled. Casting calls dropped her name. Her team scrambled for damage control, PR consultants, crisis meetings. desperate outreach to directors and producers. But nobody wanted to touch her, especially not after Spielberg's silent verdict. Because here's the thing about Spielberg. He doesn't just make movies. He makes careers. And when he closes the door, it stays closed. Insiders say he won't work with her again, won't recommend her, won't even acknowledge her publicly. That's not just bad press. That's professional exile. In Hollywood, silence speaks louder than words. When a legend like Spielberg distances himself from you, it sends shockwaves through the industry. Studio heads listen when Spielberg talks, and they listen even harder when he doesn't. Directors whispered warnings to colleagues. Producers quietly scrubbed her name from shortlists. Future projects that once seemed like sure things were now permanently frozen. Behind the scenes, Zegler's name didn't just become a warning. It became poison. No one wanted to be the next executive responsible for a Rachel Zegler-level disaster. And if Spielberg's alleged blacklisting started the quiet exile, Snow White finished the job. So where does that leave Rachel Zegler? Once a rising star with the world at her feet, she's now a cautionary tale whispered in boardrooms and casting offices. A name spoken in hushed tones, like a legend of how not to navigate Hollywood. Her story serves as a stark reminder of how quickly opportunity can turn into infamy when ego overshadows gratitude. But is this truly the end of her career? Or is it just the beginning of a long, painful silence? In Hollywood, careers have been resurrected from far worse. Look at Robert Downey Jr., who overcame personal scandals to become one of the biggest names in the industry. Or consider Lindsay Lohan, whose turbulent years were followed by a quiet but steady comeback. Redemption stories exist, but they require humility, patience, and a willingness to rebuild trust brick by brick. For Rachel, though, the road ahead seems daunting. Spielberg doesn't just close doors, he seals them shut. When someone as influential as him allegedly turns their back, the ripple effect is catastrophic. Producers hesitate. Casting agents cross your name off lists. Directors avoid meetings altogether. And yet, there's always a chance, however slim, that things could change. One thing's certain, Hollywood loves a comeback story. But those second chances are reserved for those who've proven they've learned their lesson. The question remains, will Rachel Zegler ever get that opportunity? Or has she burned too many bridges to ever walk back through Hollywood's golden gates? In the meantime, her story lingers as both a warning and a mystery. Will we see her name again in lights? Or will she fade into obscurity? Another forgotten chapter in Tinseltown's history books?